This show is brought to you by DF Studios Limited. Whether you're a business owner or entrepreneur, DF Studios will guide and assist you on the best ways to promote your brand digitally, in addition to creating visitor and customer generating content like blogs, social media posts, videos, and even podcasts like this one you're listening to right now. Visit dfstudiosltd.com or hit up info@dfstudiosltd.com for more info. All right, so let's talk about some movies here. Let's kick things off with Till, right? I finally, got around to watching it. Ricardo, I know you saw it a while back. It took me a while to check this out, honestly, for me, because of the subject matter, right? I was honestly a little uneasy, right? I was just a little, how to say, like I just wasn't keen on watching it, because of the subject matter itself, because of what it's about, right? What it's about in a nutshell, I'll just do the synopsis here, and you could just share your thoughts, right? It centers on the event, right? Well, the actual incident that took place, where Emmett, as in Emmett Till, right? Back in 1955, in Mississippi. Well, he went to Mississippi to visit his family, right? There were some cousins that lived there and whatnot, right? So one afternoon, while he was at the store, buying some stuff, he saw this white woman. She was, behind the counter, and um, in the film itself, it's established that he's a little enamored by attractive white woman, right? I mean, nothing wrong with that, right? But at the time, I mean, especially with how big of a deal racism was, right? Yeah, that was kind of a no-no, right? So yeah, what happens is that he kind of talked a little bit, just jokingly, and delivered a wolf whistle, right?
Yeah,
And
which is not even, for one, it's not even true. That did not happen.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, but yeah. So in the film, they say, well, that's what they say happened, right?
Yeah,
I
that's
should
right.
really
Yeah.
like do more research into it, right? But
Yeah.
it did, what happened to him did stem from this white woman here, because yeah,
Right.
she report to friends what happened now, and yeah, well, he got lynched. Unfortunately, he was pretty much kidnapped, pretty much taken out of his home, in the middle of the night, carried to
Right.
this farm, beaten, tortured, and then in the following morning, his body was found near this river. Yeah, just mutilated beyond recognition, right?
Right.
So what the film centers on actually is the mother
Right.
of Emmett Till, right? Mimi, right? Played by Daniel Deadwyler. And so it took me a while to notice that she was actually from this film, The Harley Fall, right? Which was one of my favorite films of last year, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Western, yeah, the Netflix Western, right? Yeah. And of course, she is just stunned. She is shocked. She is broken, like literally broken over, the death of her son, right? And and of course she just wants justice, right? But of course, she has to deal with the system where, oh, you're a black woman, or you're probably a hussy, you know what I mean? Why you let your child out doing all this kind of stuff when you should be home with him? It's that kind of stuff now, all that slang and whatnot, right? Luckily she teams up with, some African Americans who, are all about, black rights and all that kind of stuff. And they pretty much, and there's a couple of family members who help out as well too. And yeah, essentially what it is about is just her just getting justice back, right? And most importantly, letting the world know about what happened to her son. And well, that in itself, right? Just that decision. Slight spoiler, unless you know the story itself, during the funeral of her son,
Yeah.
she had it, she made sure that it was open casket, so
Yeah.
everybody that passed literally saw just how mangled his face was, right? And the show actually shows the face, and wow, it's really really messed up, right? But yeah, true that, now, this is where the civil rights movement actually began, you know what I mean? Just because she stood up and said, no, the world needs to know about this, we can't just sweep it under the rug as, oh, he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. No, an
Yeah.
African American individual was killed, and the world needs to know about this, right? And I'll stop here. So yeah, well, before we get to your thoughts, Ricardo, so the big thing about this movie here right now, and the reason why you'll be hearing about this until the end of Oscar season, is well Daniel Deadwyler's performance herself, right?
Yeah,
People, there's a lot of people that really truly believe that she could get a Best Actress nomination, and just before I'll just say right off the bat before we get to your thoughts, Ricardo. Yeah, I'm one of those. I do honestly think that she deserves a Best Actress
yeah.
nom. If
She's
she
used in
does not
this.
get
They take
one,
my
wow, like that will be a huge slap to the face, boy. Because yeah, she crushed it in this one, boy. But yeah,
yeah, no,
I'll hold off for now. But yeah, take it away.
yeah, no, it took me a while to recognize it was her too. I was like, oh shit, that is something from thing. Okay. Yeah, this I thought was just a solid outing. And what it does well is just the grander narrative around the story. So that just I really was worried if they were just gonna focus on the story by itself. But the grander narrative around it, and in fact, the most of the movie they do the two half thing, right? First half was just him and the thing, and then they move on from it and then focus on that aspect. And I thought,
Well,
right,
more first third actually. It's more the
right, yeah,
first
yeah,
third
yeah.
is the Emmett stuff, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. They just sort it out, and then they just mostly movies about her, and that story I think is more interesting and more important, to be honest. Right? The crime sad and unfortunate, but the how you deal with it and handle it, and what you do to handle it is why it works. Yeah, and I thought the movie was excellent in that sense. She is again really holds the movie. Who was he? Who was the lawyer? Who was the other person in this as a big name? I'm trying to remember his name.
All
Um,
right. Well, I
Pull
noticed
out all this
Sean
and this.
I
Yeah,
noticed Sean Patrick Thomas. That
right.
was his well, her fiance, so to speak, right?
Right.
I noticed all right, well, there's a lot of big names, right? Like it's just a black actors. I
Yeah.
saw Roger Guinevere Smith, right? He show up
Right.
on a few Spike Lee joints. I saw who else, right? I saw Frankie Faison, you know what I mean, from The Wire, and he was also, I think if I'm not mistaken, he was in a Spike Lee joint as well too, right? But what catch me by surprise, boy, was Whoopi Goldberg, Jed. Like
Right.
I just watching the face, Jed, and they do some real great makeup on she because she don't look at all like Whoopi Goldberg. Just this is when you watch what when you just watch her face closely and you just hear her voice like, oh shit, that's Whoopi. What, you know what I mean? But yeah, yeah. So that a lot of huge names in this movie, boy. But you'll be surprised by the faces that show up in this film here, man.
No, yeah. So yeah, that's the thing. I was enjoying this for what it is. Again, I didn't see this for. I saw this like a couple of weeks ago, right? I didn't think I actually was surprised that you wanted to review it. So I'm trying to remember what the bigger details in this was. But yeah, I thought it was solid business. I didn't. I think they could have done more with it. I felt it was like engaging in a more interesting way. Again, to do with the aspect of the crime, but like more to do with, oh well, right, this is unfortunate reality, and you accept it for what it is, and then who don't accept it and why. I think they get into that philosophy, which I thought was a reasonably good conceit for a show like this. Now, smarter than I thought. That is about it.
All right. Well, I agree with you for the most part, man. I enjoyed this, right? And I was particularly pleased with the fact because, well, like I said, the reason why I was a little hesitant in watching this is because I thought that the majority of the film was going to center on Emmett's or at least the events that led to Emmett's murder, right, or lynching, right? But thankfully, the film didn't do that, right? It sets up early o'clock the relationship between him and his mom, and you really do see how just how much he adores his mom, Jerry. Just how much of a bright soul he is, right? That
Mm.
actually caught me by surprise. Like this, how just bright in spirit that Emmett was, right? And it didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like oh, we just have to make him seem happy and cheerful, so when he gets killed, it hits us even harder. No, it feels genuine. But at the same time, there's a certain naivety about him, right? So it's not like he's unaware of the racism that was going on, in 1955, right? He's not like totally blind to it, right? But he does not let that define his will, right? So that's what makes moments like, and I love how the film does this too, where his cousins like telling him like, yo, they're gonna they're gonna come to look for you, and they're gonna try and come and kill you. Why you do this for? Why you whistle at the girl for, and all that kind of stuff. No, like I like how they frame that, man. He's just like dude, they ain't gonna do anything, just like it's just so biting up. It's just like I just did it, right? It don't even matter, right? But then, well, you see exactly how much it happens, right? Much to the detriment and unfortunate detriment of
Right. So
Emmett,
he
right?
was from Chicago, I think.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, he was from Chicago. He was from
Right.
Chicago. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. He's kind of look
Um,
complacent now.
right, right. Exactly. He's a different place. There's actually a great moment in him in a cotton field. He's just like, why doing this for? Trey? Like,
Yeah.
let
Yeah.
me just go out and hang out and drink cokes or whatnot. Like, why we doing this, right? But yeah, I will say though, and also what I would really appreciate though, is how they handle the death itself. So they literally don't show you the lynching; they just show you the aftermath of it, right? So I really do
Right.
appreciate that. But it still is pretty disturbing though, especially well, just even though it's subtle in terms of the visuals that they use to emphasize what happened. Just everything about it though still is pretty disturbing, right? And just nasty to think about, right? Speaking of which, though, I do applaud the film, right? For because 'cause in my head I was like, all right, like I know that his body was mangled, right? But I was wondering if they were really gonna show the body itself, right?
Right.
And they do this really smart thing where they don't show you the face until the funeral itself, right? Because I
Yeah.
thought like, okay, well, all right, like I guess they don't want to freak audiences out, right? But they leave the face now for the funeral itself, and then when you see it for yourself, right, the camera kind of lingers on it, even though it just does this slow zoom out. Like, yeah, it's just tough to watch though, but
Yeah.
it still
Hmm.
works, right? But I love that it's not done in this how to say, but it's not done in this exploitative kind of way, like, oh, we're
Yeah.
just gonna shock and sicken you to make you understand how real the situation is. Like, no, you're seeing the face, you're seeing how people who are walking to the casket are gonna see this face as well too. Um, on the subject of that too, Daniel did Weiler boy. She just knocked out the park with this one, right? Now I was concerned that the film was gonna have her just be this weeping black woman, you know what I mean, and she's just gonna be, oh Lord, no,
Yeah.
why? Although she does that a few times, right? But it's in the right moments, though. So, case in point, when she sees the body, and a couple instances after that, no, she does that, right? But I was worried that the film was going to rely too much on the weeping, sobbing, you know what I mean, and all that. And yeah, she weeps and she sobs the hell out of those moments, though, right? But yeah, it's to serve a purpose to the film, no, and I like that the film does that, just stick with her just being sad, right? So that's why I love like what happens afterwards, where she just wants to fight back. She fights back. She wants justice and all that kind of stuff. Of course, it's not going to be an easy ride. So thankfully there are people that will help her out though. And where it ends though is both ironic and how to say, boy, it's just, yeah, this is exactly how you would imagine it would play out, right? So you're not gonna get a Hollywood ending per se, but I do appreciate the end of it, however, now where you see how her struggle and how her fight, right, for justice continues, right, and you see just how that led to the civil rights movement and whatnot, right. So yeah, I do agree with a lot of people. Danielle is great in this too. She deserves an Oscar nom. If she does not get one, well. I know with the Oscars, I know that's an excuse I love to say, but yeah, she knocked it out of the park, and I would say that she really does hold the film on her shoulders. Like at first, I thought it was going to be her and Emmett, well, the actor who plays Emmett. By the
Yeah.
way, he's really great at this as well, right?
Yeah.
But the other actors they do their thing as well too. They really do great supporting roles, right? But it's really her film true and true. And she just carries it. She just crushes it though. She's just great on screen, right? That being said though. I would say in terms of just the story itself, right? Like it tells a story and then you leave, right? But it doesn't do, as far as something based off, as a historical piece though. It doesn't do anything all too spectacular, right? So you're not gonna
Right.
go in and see something uberly amazing, whether it's direction or cinematography or even acting as well too, right? You get what you pretty much get what the show gives you, right? But it does not really do anything overly, extraordinary, to you like that, right? So, no, for me, I didn't walk out of this saying, okay, this is one of the best films of the year, though. But it is one that I will remember leading up to Oscar season. I do
Right.
hope that more people will check it out, even if it doesn't win Best Actress. So I don't even think, honestly, I don't think it'll be nominated for Best Picture. But if it does, okay, cool. But I do think just because of the strength of the story and the message, and really has a strong message as well too, right? Especially in the end with the post-credit disclaimers. I wouldn't say what happens there. Um, yeah, this show has longevity, man. I I will say, right? But yeah, I still see that this is still worth checking out though, especially for Daniel's performance though, because yeah, she was great at this, right? So rating wise, I'm gonna give this a decent 4 to 5, man. This is still, yeah, I would say even though it's not, some overly amazing film, it's not something spectacular, or I would say, something that kind of reinvents the wheel, or if it is like that. It still, however, just tells a story, and just gives you strong performances and a really strong message as well too, right? And yeah, just shows, just more or less highlights, again, just how bad it was, what I mean, to be an African American back in the 50s, right? And onward. And it's one of those shows just inclusive, right? Which, we're gonna relate to another film that we're gonna talk about now, where, and I imagine it's gonna be people who will approach this film, a little scared now because of, knowing about what happened with Emmett Till now, but then at the same time wondering, all right, it's 2022. Do we really need to see this on screen? Oh gosh, we know racism, right? It's bad. We know. Why
Yeah.
do we need to see this, right?
Yeah,
I
people will
yeah.
fed up with the black struggle.
Yeah, yeah. But
Black
I will
struggle.
say in this case, it is really, really appropriate though. It's necessary. We need films, or at least a film, right? Because I'm not expecting any more about Emmett Till in a hurry, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
we need a film, to address stuff like this, right? And I'll close with this, right? Because yeah, even while I was watching this, I was asking myself that question, right? And then that certain disclaimer show up at the end of the movie, where I was like, okay, now I see why this movie came out, boy. It has to do with the year this film was released. That's all I would say, boy.
Yeah.
And it's just so ironic, boy. Like my God, it, ugh, it angered me actually. It literally did anger
Yeah.
me when that certain point show up, right? But I'll stop here.
Yeah,
But yeah, Ricardo,
real
yeah,
story. Yeah, the real story was like the fact that it recently came out that she just not that he wasn't supposed to die for the thing that he died for, but at the same time, it's like, oh, even that was untrue. Like the fact that she just lied. She just lied about it, and she recently admitted to it. Recently, I forget when it was, like 2014 or something like that. And then she just, yeah, life goes on, and she attitude is like, oh well, you forgive and forget kind of nonsense. Like, sorry, not for this. That is like some really insidious nonsense. I don't know.
or you talk about the shopkeeper herself, right? The woman.
No, yeah, her, yeah, she,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah,
And oh yes, and the moment in the film where she's in the courtroom, and she's delivering her little speech and whatnot. Yeah,
yeah,
that got me angry.
yeah, exactly.
My God.
It's just not. It's such an insidious thing now that she had that even for what it was, it is ridiculous, and she still had had the gumption to lie about it and that kind of thing. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, speaking of that though, it actually that well, sorry to say, well, slight spoiler. There's a courtroom scene, of course, right? That in itself has a very To Kill a Mockingbird kind of vibe to it
yes,
as well too.
yes, yeah,
Especially the outcome. Without spoiling anything, especially the outcome. If you've seen the film, if you read the book for To Kill a Mockingbird, yeah, you kind of know how this particular film is gonna end here, right? But yeah,
right,
yeah,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
So
yeah.
your final thoughts on it?
Yeah, rating out of 7 out of 10. It didn't. It good. It didn't stick with me. It felt pretty standard. It's. I was smarter than I thought it would have been. To be honest, like I was really expecting something real like straightforward and lazy and not that challenging. But what it did is it was straightforward. Like it's a good story. It's a story that had to come out now because we know, since we know mostly the full truth of the entire narrative of what went on and how that whole thing played out, and who was who did what and why and who get away or how little time did they serve and so on and so forth. That's about it. That's how I feel about the whole thing. Other than that, I was not particularly impressed. It was fine. It was reasonably well made. Yeah, main actress, she hold it. So that's about it. I had nothing else to think about, to be honest. But yeah, 7 out of 10. It's fine.
Right, right, right.
Mhm.
And another film which seems timely, but there will be some people who'll be like, "Oh gosh, but we in 2022, why we still talk about this?" Way She Said. This was a film that I was hearing a lot of great things about, though. It actually had a really limited theatrical release down here in Trinidad, similar to Till actually, because yeah, both these movies were in theaters, right? But little to no promotion, so this kind of came and went, right? As it is for films of this caliber, unfortunately, right? But yeah, what this show is about here was actually based on the novel itself, by the actual characters or real life people who are in this film, right? That would be the New York Times correspondents, Judy Cantor and
Yeah.
Megan Towie, right? Two names who, like, all right, so I will confess now, just going into this, right? Yes, the film is centered on, the whole blowback with Harvey Weinstein and
Right.
these sexual abuse allegations that popped up, right? But yeah, I didn't really know about these about Judy and Megan until watching this, right?
Right.
So for me, I just kind of heard about, okay, Harvey got arrested and this, right? But I didn't know how it came to be, right? It was one of those things for me, right? So I have to thank this film for at least showing me now, me, because I was too lazy to do research on my own, right? Ha ha ha, right? Yeah, exactly what happened, right? And yeah, in a nutshell, that's really what this movie is about, right? It actually starts off, around, I believe, right, this is in 2016 when Trump actually, becomes president, right? And the sexual abuse allegations thrown on him, right? Leading up to the election and whatnot, right? So it starts off with him now, right? And then it bleeds over into Harvey Weinstein as well, right? And yeah, we just see, just these, well, again, these two reporters, Jody and Megan. Well, I mean, they started off with the whole Trump thing, right? And of course, with Trump being elected now, of course, you could feel the disappointment, like many of us felt, right, when he won, right? But especially with the fact that yes, this guy who abused these women back in the days is now president, right? So that you could imagine how
Right.
how how stinging of a slap to the face, right? That had to be for those two women, right? So now, in terms of Harvey Weinstein, now, a couple of women coming, showing up, talking about, yeah, his, creepiness, off the sets and all that kind of stuff. They actually mention Rose McGowan, actually
Right.
this, and well, in case you're wondering, no, she does not show up in the film. There's someone that they actually cast somebody to just do a voice for off screen, right? Who actually is in this movie, much to my surprise, is well, actually a person I haven't heard about in ages, Ashley Judd.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
she
Right on
is
the
there in the
background.
film.
Yeah.
She plays herself in this movie, right?
Right. Right.
And
Right.
yeah, she comes out, she tells them about what happened as well too. Of course, she is reluctant about spilling the beans, but eventually she does. They mentioned Gwyneth Paltrow. I don't
Right.
think that there was an actress or voice actress they got for her, but they mentioned her. And yeah, essentially you just see step by step by step everything that led to Harvey Weinstein pretty much being ousted, right? Just all the steps and all the little moments that took place that led to that moment, right? And of course, the Me Too movement, sorry, that
Yeah.
sparked from it, right? So just to get this out of the way, yes, I even while I was watching this, I know that there will be people who will watch this, right? I'm not saying like, oh, okay, like bad-minded people, but there's people who just like, again, similar to Till. All right, why are we making films about this? We know
Well,
Harvey was a
this
bad
one a
man and
little
all that kind
more.
of stuff, but
Yeah. This
still,
one a little more
but
serious
no,
and more recent. No. So yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. That just this one.
Yes, exactly. But not just the reason this, but because of just how relevant it is, right? Because yeah, I mean, you still see the aftermaths of what this man did to this day, right? Just the lives that this man ruined, Dredd, you know what I mean? Just because he had a hard on, and just because well, the real reason being is because he had power and he felt he could just kind of use it to just manipulate people, right? Especially women, right? Yeah, you still seeing the aftershocks of that to this day, man, and it's really unfortunate, right? So yeah, I mean, a film like this, needs to be made, man. And I mean, I have to applaud, the team involved. The Maria Schrader. I'm not familiar with her work actually. Yeah, she directed this, but yeah, she came through with a really really solid film, right? Again, well, similar to Till, though, it is pretty standard. It's not doing anything extraordinary or over the top or anything like that, right? It just tells the story, keeps it to the point. Um, it goes into detail actually into every step that took place though, and you see everything play out, right? And it's one of those shows like I would say like stuff like All the President's Men or the
Right.
Post, where it's centered on the newspaper in the well the journalism, right? And just the effort that these reporters have to take to find the truth, to unearth the truth, and all that kind of stuff, right? So personally, I'm not a huge fan of dramas or biopics like that though.
Right.
But they do intrigue me, right? So while I am not the audience for this though, I still found myself really like intrigued by everything that was going on, right? Another argument people will make is that, well, still you have to entertain the audience, you have to give us stuff that people will like. And yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you kind of get that, right? I mean, you get great performances, especially from Carrie Mulligan, who plays Megan, and Zoe
Right.
Kazan, who plays Judy, right? I mean, they knocked it out the park, though. They were great in this, right? What I will say about this film, though, is that it does not feel Oscar baity, right?
Right.
Even though I know there will be people who might look at a scene or look at a shot and say, all right, nah, that's Oscar Beatty, right? Yeah. You want to zero in on this moment with this particular character cry or whatnot because you want, you know what I mean? Like you want to build that Oscar buzz off the emotion of it. But no, the film itself feels genuine. If it actually gets nominated for some, that'll be great. I think most likely it might get for best sorry, not original, best adapted screenplay because it's actually adapted from a novel, right? I think that above everything else it might get a nomination for that, right? I don't know what else to be honest though. I can't really say for acting, but I think for screenplay this should deserve a nom, right?
Right.
Um, if it actually get nominated for best picture though,
It kind of was trying to. I don't know. It was trying to be like this year's spotlight almost.
that's right.
Right.
Yeah. So that was about to say though, if it actually gets nominated for Best Picture, that will be pretty interesting as well, right? And
Right.
well, I mean, if it wins, that will more or less herald a real significant change in terms of Hollywood, though I must say though, because it is about Hollywood, it is about the dark side of Hollywood, and the show kind of just showing you, yeah, how these two reporters pretty much just just unearth all that kind of stuff there. You know what I mean? They just show the ugliness inside, right? So it'd be funny that a movie about that now can win Best Picture. But I don't know. I guess we'll see come next year, right? But whatever. But yeah, for what it is, this is just just still a solid, just a very well made film. The editing is on point as well. You know what I mean? Especially how they just cover so much ground over the course of like roughly 2 hours. They really do that well. Carrie and Zoe are great. They believable, they relatable as both Megan and Judy do. The show does not beat you over the head in terms of misogyny, right? Especially in
Right.
the real world and all that kind of stuff, right? But yeah, it does touch on that. I mean, it is that's really what the movie is about, though. And yeah, it doesn't shy away from just showing you the at least hinting at the ugliness of it all, right? Um, also points for actually using like real footage though. So case in point, prior to the whole Harvey Weinstein stuff, they mentioned this motherfucker, Bill O'Reilly. Yes, and
Right. Right. Right.
he had
Yeah. He
shit that
gets
went
a.
down with him,
I remember he
right?
gets on drama. Yeah.
Yeah, they actually show a clip of him in the O'Reilly Factor though. I think he addressed Megan if I'm not mistaken. I think he had called her and asked her if she was a feminist. And that was the question. Are you a feminist, right? And then
Right.
he actually brought it up in the show like, oh, I just called her, you know what I mean? Like real acting like, oh, like she trying to hide something. Like, but bro, why you calling she acting shit like that? Because she want to know what you up to because you do some shit on the low, whatever, right? But yeah,
No. No. Yeah. Like he was, but he can catch up in a long time. Like the
right.
famous with his loofah and
All right.
yeah,
Yes,
that whole thing.
I
Yeah.
remember that. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. What else? What else? They also use though in actually one of the film's most uncomfortable moments, actual audio footage of Harvey himself, Dread. Yeah, coercing this Hispanic woman to perform sexual acts on him, right?
Yeah.
And just the way how he talks to her, boy, like I won't lie, boy, that girl under my skin, that real girl under my skin, Joe. Like it's actually him, right? And speaking of that, they actually got a voice actor to play Harvey because yes,
Right.
the
Right.
New York Times actually reached out to him a few times, and of course he did with the lawyer complaint like, oh, all the stuff you're talking about me, and you're not even giving me enough time to speak my piece, blah 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 blah, right? I mean, yeah, the show goes out his way to make you flat out hate Harvey, right? But rightfully so, I must say, boy. But yeah, and also I forgot to mention too, a couple of feats I did expect to see in this. Patricia Clarkson. She was there too. She's one of the superiors in well, we used to one of the veterans I would say in the New York Times. They even get Andre Broherdred. Last time I saw, he literally
Okay.
was in Brooklyn Nine-Nine,
Yeah, that
right?
was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
He plays Dean Baquet, right? He well, he was a executive editor at the New York Times. I believe he's retired now, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I was like, yeah, you in this too? Okay, okay, cool. But yeah, oh, and well, actually, just read this up here on Wikipedia. Actually, yes, Gwyneth Paltrow actually is in this film. That's actually her voice that you
Okay.
hear in this film as well too. So yeah, I mean, round of applause for that, man. The Rose McGowan stuff, I could understand why she wouldn't want to be in the film. You know what I mean? Even if it's just a voiceover, right? But other than that, though, I do like that they actually mention her as well, right? Because yeah, she have a huge role to play in the takedown of Harvey Weinstein anyway, right? But yeah, I mean, the show is genuine. It delivers on its promise in terms of just showing you just step by step how this influential figure in Hollywood was brought down, like literally brought down, man, and rightfully so. Um, Acting, cinematography, editing, direction is on point though, but at the same time, it just does it like right. I mean, it makes sense, right? But like, it's not trying to do anything overly different or anything like that, right? It's standard, it's basic, it's to the point though, and yeah, like for me, I don't know, I like for me, I just kind of expected a little bit more though. Like I just thought that there would have been a little something in it outside of the subject matter now that would really have me like engaged though. But it's just the strength of that subject matter alone just had me on board from start to end. Um, as far as best stuff for the year for me, I could see this as an honorable mention, but you could expect this to show up on many best of lists, and I do hope that it gets recognized, by the Academy next year. I do predict that it could get a best adapted screenplay nomination. If it wins, I mean, I'll be happy. I'll be happy, right? So yeah, rating wise, I'm gonna give this decent to strong 4 to 5, man. I would say that this is worth checking out. Um, if you're like me and you just don't know everything that led to the demise of Harvey Weinstein, definitely give this show a look. And I would say yes, movies like this, stories like this actually need to be told, right? And if stuff like this is uncomfortable for you, if you just don't want to hear about that kind of stuff, then I would advise you to just kind of stay clear of it, right? But
Right.
if you are curious to see it, and and you just want to be enlightened and just informed by all that stuff that went on back in the days, especially this whole situation, I would say, involving Harvey Weinstein. Yes, definitely check this out. And I mean, outside of that though, it is still a solid, very well made and very well acted film. So yeah, I really do recommend checking out She Said.